We are going to step through a series of videos with the intent of simulating an actual configuration management tool for provisioning and deploying a Hadoop cluster. You should be able to translate the scripts that we share with you into recipes for Chef and into files for Puppet or other major configuration management tools of your choice. Our first major task is to build some images. We want to build an image for our baseline, an image for our data server, and an image for our master server. So let's get that done first. Before we move forward, let me share some of the base information with you. Here's our baseline directory for our HD admin. If you go into ls into build, we have our build scripts. We'll have a chance to look at all these in just a moment. We have our distro. These are all our configuration files that we'll be using to run Hadoop with. We have our RPM, which we're using as our internal repo. Then we have got HDOps. These are all scripts that will run from our operational admin node. And then we have our own internal SBIN, which are all about how we connect from outside the virtual private network that we're going to set up inside of AWS. Now, let's go ahead and configure our first instance. We're going to take our good old M1 large. We're going to add 20 gigabytes of storage. We're going to ensure that we take the general purpose. And we're going to call this the baseline. We're creating a new security group called CentOS. Everything's in place. Now we're going to select our key. We're going to select the key EDU cluster. Let's launch the instance. Great. Our new baseline EC2 instance is up and functional. The first thing we're going to do is get a little bit of important information from it. We're going to capture the public DNS. Let's log in. Great, we're there and functional. Now, if you remember from earlier, one of the first problems that we want to solve is extending the file system. And we use fdisk to do that with. There's our boot device. Let's go ahead and repartition it. We're going to select a new primary partition, partition 1. We're going to set the blocks to 2048. That's looking right. Now we just need to make it bootable. Let's write this to disk, and let's reboot. Let's log back in and resize the file system. Great, exactly what we're looking for. Typically at this point in time, I might reboot again just to ensure that the file system is sound. But let us move forward. Now what we need to do is to copy in and set up our launching directory. Great, let us copy in our build script. We now want to copy in our Oracle Java.tar. And while this file is copying over, let's put in place our authorized keys. Great. Let's see if this is completed. Oh, we have a little bit to go. We'll be back in just a moment. Great, one last file. Now we've copied all the working files into our temp directory. Let's go have a look. We've got the authorized key, we've got the bash RC, and we have the Oracle Java tar. Let's extract that file. Excellent. Now, I believe we're ready. Let's have a look at our build script. This is a build script to create our baseline server. It sets a couple of variables and it has some base functions. Let's look at these. The first function is a testing function. We want to ensure that we're running this as root. We want to make sure we have the authorized keys and the bash RC file. We have some intro remarks, and then we get to it. The first thing I want to do is set the root password. Then we want to disable SE Linux. We want to turn off the IP tables, and at the same time we want to ensure that we turn on network time protocol. Then we're going to run an update yum. We're going to update all of our files to the current state, and then the all-important Java decision. Here we have an opportunity to install Java from Oracle locally, or we can do it remotely with the OpenJDK. Then we create our user HDadmin. A couple of steps here, but perhaps the most important is to ensure we set up the sudo so that we have no password access to root. Then we're going to do a little bit of cleanup. We're going to remove some of these files. We have our post build instructions, a function to offer us the opportunity to reboot, and then the main. Let's be bold and let's run this. Great, let's log back in. First thing we ought to do is a check config. Excellent, exactly what we're looking for. Now let's do a little bit of cleanup. Let's exit. Can we SSH in is our user HDadmin. That works as well. That's working. And that's working. We're in very good shape. At this point, I typically would do a lot more testing to ensure that we've got a completely solid, stable platform, but let's just go ahead and move forward. What we're going to do now is create our image. We'll go to the baseline that's running. We'll select Action, Image, Create Image. We'll give it a name and we'll call it the baseline. It'll take a couple minutes for this to come online. There, we've created a baseline image that we can now build upon for the rest of our servers.